The title.
Just the title and the date. Alright, I'm about to switch it. Christian, you got it written down? Andrew, you got it written down? Okay, here we go. Okay, folks, I think if we all are quiet right now and listen, we'll get the information we need. The date is 11/12/13. The title that you're writing down is DBQ Tech Sanitation. Okay. I'm going to wait for it to be quiet. Eyes up front, because that's where the information is. Alright, thank you. This is what it should sound like in here now. Let's be facing forward and not be throwing stuff in the basket. Unless if we're going to sit up there, we need to be focused. Here we go. TBQ test sanitation. Now, first of all, you guys have probably had it drilled into you left and right what annotation is. Do you have a question, Celeste? Okay. Text annotation is a way of having like a conversation with the text. It's like making the complicated text come alive so you can ask it questions that you would ask an author. Samaj?
I thought it would be like a one-way conversation where like the text and then you talking, you just trying to comprehend the text.
What could you do to make it a two-way conversation, Samaj?
You write stuff down, like you ask questions like why. Good,
yeah. Ask, and that's part of the strategies for annotating is to ask questions. So once you start asking questions and start thinking about what the answers could be, you've already started a dialogue with your document. Okay? All right, so everyone has it down that it's a conversation?
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm taking notes about how to take notes.
Pretty much, yeah. All right, good observation.
Yeah.
All right, so yes, you do not have to write this down unless you really care to, but I want you to understand why we're doing this. Okay? Why this is important. First of all, it helps you become a better reader. Okay? When you are going through high school, when you're going through college, you're going to get all kinds of challenging texts. And this is going to help you read those texts in a better way. So it'll help you tackle those tough texts. It's going to help you remember information more. Remember on the warm-up how we used our little symbols, our strategies for identifying what we understood and what we didn't understand?
Yes.
If you're doing that as you read, by the time you get down to the bottom of the document, it means you don't have to waste the time going back and remembering all those thoughts you had while you read. You've got them written in your margins. You've got little symbols reminding you of what's what. So you can zero right in on the stuff you had the question marks next to instead of the stuff that you already understood. So it helps you remember. It helps you expand your vocabulary because you're constantly seeing new words. And you're figuring out maybe what those words are based on context. And maybe you don't understand the word that time around, but you've seen it. So the next time it pops up, you'll have even more idea of maybe what it means based on what's said around it. And also it helps you in the dark. Let's say you're feeling totally in the dark when you get a document. You're totally lost. These tools will hopefully get you to a place where you at least can shine some kind of light on what's going on. And it's going to help you with writing assignments, not just in this class, but in English and science, all kinds of subjects where you have to read tough documents. All right. What does it look like? You don't have to write this down. It looks like whatever you want it to look like. What I gave you today on the warm-up, that's one example of what it could look like. But it's not the only example. Samaje?
So why are we constantly hearing teachers say that's not good annotation?
So it doesn't necessarily, it can look different ways, but the important thing is that you are asking the right questions. It's more the content of what is going on rather than the style you choose to do it in.
But like,
yeah,
say you write like 3 things on your paper when you annotate, and your 3 things that you wrote on the paper can be more effective than somebody writing a whole bunch of things on their paper because you understand what you write.
And I would argue this much, and you're right. Like, are you asking the right questions? Maybe those 2 questions you ask is more effective than someone marking up a paper with a bunch of questions that don't really get at the important stuff. Right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, and that's true. Guys, can we quit the comments? This is kind of distracting right now. So hopefully, hopefully, you will find this to be a companion. Someone fuzzy and warm who can help you when you're feeling lost. Okay? Now, the first thing when you get a DBQ that you gotta tackle, that you gotta take care of, that you gotta understand is that prompt, right? Because why read all these complicated documents if you're not even sure why you're reading them? You have to know what. So this is our prompt that we're going to work with today and tomorrow. Could you please write it down for me real quick? Just put it in your notes. Okay, just copy this prompt down because this is going to be what we're going to keep referring back to. And that word is role. Analyze the role. I just got cut off a little bit there.
Yeah.
When you are done writing down, tell me what keywords you're underlining and what verb you're circling. Latasia, what are you underlining? Analyze is your key what?
Word.
Your
No,
key?
it's a verb.
Key verb, good. When you turn this into a question, Latasia, what question words are you going to use with it? How and why. Great. All right, what are some keywords, other keywords we see in there? Or let's say key terms, right? Could be more than one word you want to put together. Samaji?
Culture, politics, and economics.
Good. Culture, politics, and economics. Amani? Good. The Islamic world. So we are going to be looking at the role of cities. What is another way to say role of, like the role of something? Samaji?
The job of.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the purpose of, the job of, the position of cities, its place, and how it is maybe affected culture, politics, and economics in the Islamic world. What is the Islamic world? What did we learn about the Islamic world last week? What happened to it after Muhammad came around? What did it turn into? We have Muslims, and Muslims are building a... Raise your hand if you can tell me what Muslims are working towards now. What are they building? Grace? An empire, right? So the Islamic world is actually quite a big empire now at this time. Okay, I'm not going to change it. Tell me, if step one, if we were to write down some steps here, step one is reading the prompt, which we just did. We took care of that. What is going to be step two?
Analyze.
Raise your hand, please. Okay.
Analyze.
Well, up here, what is our next step?
Read and identify the source for that.
Okay, so you guys have seen when I've given you DBQs, you have in the past seen something like historical background, right? Up on maybe the top of the DBQ. And on each each document you see the word source, right? And it tells you where it came from. That's the next thing you want to make sure you do, because that gives you all the important information to understand what's going on inside of the document. Okay, so step one, read the prompt. Step two, read all the background information and source information.
You want us to write about each step?
Yeah. So step one is read the prompt. Let's check our posture, please. Make sure we're sitting up. Step two is read and identify background information. And then I would like to have maybe Latasia come up and write on the board for us, if you could. Does someone feel in the mood for standing up and writing right now? Okay. Come on up. We'll have other opportunities. Keenan can certainly come up at some point. Alright. So anything Tamani's writing up here, you guys can copy down. She's doing the heavy lifting up here. The notes that we'll need to take. She's going to synthesize all our ideas into one thing over there. So the next step, the third step, is soapstone. When we read a document, by the way, if you're remembering, needing to remember what soapstone is, it's up here on the wall. Whenever you read a document that is tough, that is hard to understand, soapstone is your go-to. Soapstone is going to tell you what to ask yourself in order to understand this document. So I'm going to flip. You don't necessarily have to worry about these last two steps right here, guys, yet. But the first one is basically like, if you see a graph, if you see any kind of picture that's going to help you, make sure you take a look at that. And, of course, bold, italics, any of those small clues that are going to help you. Those are just example of a document that we would look at to answer this prompt. So, we're going to soapstone it. First of all, what is S? Good, tell us, Samanje, what's the S?
Speaker.
Speaker, good. Okay, who is the speaker, Larry? Yeah, who is the author in this case? What does it tell us in the source information? He's got a complicated name. But who is he? Like, what does he do?
He's a spy.
Yeah, he's a spy, a traveler. So go ahead, Money. We just said he's a spy and a traveler, but is he just, how else could we describe him? How else did they describe him in the source? He's Muslim and also he's a Persian, he's a Muslim, he's a traveler. That's all who he is, right? That's all who he is, right? So, if you're a Persian, where are you from? Persia. Okay, so apparently people in Persia, in the Persian Empire at the time, were Muslims. And so we got the speaker, his name, just to pronounce it, is Nasir-e Khushraw. We can call him Nas. That works for him. Okay, so the next one is what? O? Oh, occasion. I think occasion is kind of tricky because it's not always clear. Yeah, that's going to be under S there. Everything I underlined here is like. Let's please not talk to our neighbors. Okay, she can raise her hand. Do you have a question? Alright, let's raise her hand next time, please. Okay, O. What does O stand for? Larry, thanks for having your hand up. Occasion. So what is an occasion? Mike, how can we describe it? And maybe what's the occasion here? Let's all listen to Mike. What's that?
What caused it?
Yeah, what caused this particular document to be made? What's the occasion of the document? Larry, what's the occasion?
Report.
Good. Report. So he's giving a report to who? There you go.
It's a period,
He's giving a report to his superiors. You are right. To his superiors on Cairo, but not necessarily. He's from where?
Persian.
So his superiors are probably going to be Persian. So they're probably some kind of important Persian people, right? So we can just say his Persian superiors, right? Just to keep it simple. So the occasion is he's giving a report. Sorry, am I skipping ahead? How do you spell soapstone? S-O-A. What is A? Audience. Thank you for keeping your hand up, Larry. Let's get some new voices, guys. Chipwell, what is aid? Okay, so yeah, let's say Persian superiors for audience.